Somewhere in the deep past, in a valley full of people, someone opened their mouth to call for one specific person and realized they had no way to do it. They could point, they could grunt, they could describe the tall one, the one who hunts, the one whose child died last winter. But there was no single sound that meant you and only you. And then, we'll never know exactly when, one sound was spoken that belonged to one person. Not a description, not a role, a name. And in that moment, something new was born into the world, the individual. We treat names as obvious. Everyone has one. You got yours before you could speak, and you'll answer to it your whole life without thinking about it once. But step back far enough and a name becomes strange. Because a name does something no grunt, no gesture, no description can do. A name reaches across distance and pulls one specific mind out of a crowd. Think about what life is like without that. In a small band, 10, 15 people, you might not need names at all. You know everyone. You can point. You can grab a shoulder. The tall one, the fast one, the mother of the twins. Description is enough, because there's only one of each. But something changes as the group grows. Description starts to fail. Now there are 3 tall ones, 2 fast hunters. The old signals collapse under the weight of numbers. And in a crisis, a hunt, a fire, an animal in the camp at night, you cannot afford to shout the fast one and watch 3 heads turn while the moment is lost. That pressure, the pressure of a group too big to point your way through, is one of the oldest forces in human history. And somewhere inside it, a solution formed. Not a description of a person, a label for a person. A sound that meant one human, and only that human every time. So the real question isn't when did we start talking? We talked for a very long time. The question is when a sound first stopped meaning something and started meaning someone. Here's the surprising part. We are not the only species that names. In the warm shallows of the ocean, dolphins do something extraordinary. Each dolphin develops what researchers call a signature whistle, a unique sound it invents for itself early in life. And other dolphins use it. When one dolphin wants another, it copies that individual's whistle, effectively calling them by name across the water. Elephants do something similar, using low rumbles that appear to be specific to individuals. Certain parrots, too, are given a unique call by their parents, a sound that stays with them for life. Sit with what that means. The idea of a personal sound, a vocal label for one individual, did not begin with humans. Nature discovered it more than once, in creatures separated from us by tens of millions of years. So the first human names may not have been an invention at all. They may have been an inheritance. The same ancient trick, running in a new and far more powerful mind. A mind that could take a signature sound and do something no dolphin can. Attach a story to it. A dolphin's whistle says, "Here I am." A human name came to say something much larger. It came to say, "This is who I am, and this is who I was, and who I will be." We don't have a recording of the first name. Names are made of breath. They leave no fossil, no tool, no bone in the ground. But we can reconstruct their shape because of a clue hiding in plain sight. Look at the oldest human names we can recover, from early languages, from the first written records, from cultures that kept older naming traditions alive. And a pattern appears. The earliest names were almost never abstract. They were descriptions, names that meant strong, names that meant born at dawn, or the one who returned, or little bear. Names drawn from the world the person came into, the animal seen at their birth, the weather, a trait, an event. In many of the oldest naming systems on Earth, a name is not a random label, it is a compressed story. That tells us something about how the very first names probably worked. They likely began exactly where description failed, but instead of describing you fresh each time, The group froze one description and attached it to you permanently. You were no longer the one who was fast. You became fast, a sound that stayed yours even when you grew old and slow. And that freezing is the crucial step. The moment a description stops changing with you, the moment it sticks even when it's no longer true, it has stopped being a description. It has become a name. It has become identity. This is the same channel where we ask, when humans first understood they would die, and what they felt the first time they controlled fire, the moments the human mind switched on. If that's the kind of question you want to sit with, subscribe. But stay here, because we still haven't reached the strangest part, what a name did to the person who received it. Here is the idea at the center of this whole story. A name is not just a convenience for the group. A name changes the person who carries it. Before you have a name, you experience yourself from the inside. Hunger, cold, fear, the raw stream of being alive. But a name does something no internal feeling can. It lets you see yourself from the outside. It gives you a handle on your own existence, a word other people use for you, that you can then use for yourself. Watch this happen in a child even today. For the first year or two, a baby doesn't fully use their own name. Then something clicks. They hear the name enough times, attached to them, that they begin to grasp it. That sound is me. And from that moment, they can do something new. They can think about themselves as a thing in the world, a character other people can see, talk about, remember. Psychologists connect this to the same leap a child makes at a mirror, the moment they realize the reflection is them. A name is a mirror made of sound. It shows you to yourself. So imagine the first humans crossing that line, not as babies, but for the first time as a species. Before names, you were an experience. After names, you were a person, someone with a reputation, a history, a story that other people carried around, even when you weren't there. Your name could be spoken when you were miles away. It could be remembered after you died. That is the quiet revolution. The name didn't just let people call you. It made you into someone worth calling. No animal we know of can be missed by name. We can. And that single fact carries more weight than it seems. Because once you have a name, you can be spoken of when you are not there. And once you can be spoken of when you're not there, you can be spoken of after you're gone. This is where the name becomes something close to sacred. A name is the first technology of memory. Long before writing, a name let a dead person stay in the world. The hunter who died could still be named around the fire. The mother who was lost could still be spoken to, spoken about, kept alive in sound. In many ancient cultures, this became one of the deepest human fears, not just death, but the death of the name. To be forgotten completely, to have no one left who could say your sound. Some of the oldest human practices we know of, carving names into stone, passing a name from grandparent to grandchild, forbidding a name from being spoken again as the ultimate punishment. All of them treat the name as something almost alive, something worth protecting after the body is gone. Think about what that means. The moment humans invented names, they invented a way to cheat disappearance. A name is the thread that ties one generation to the next. The reason you might know the name of an ancestor you never met, whose face is lost forever, but whose sound survived. We built pyramids and monuments for this. We carved names into walls for this. All of it begins with the first person who was still spoken of after they stopped breathing. The body decays. The name doesn't have to. And some part of every human since has been trying to make sure theirs survives. So let's return to the question. When did ancient humans first decide to give each other names? The honest answer is that no one decided. There was no meeting, no moment of invention, no single genius who thought of it. Like most of the deepest human things, the name arrived slowly, pulled into existence by pressure, over an immense stretch of time. But we can estimate the shape of it. Complex spoken language, the kind that can carry names, likely took form somewhere in the last few 100,000 years, as our species developed the brain and the vocal control to speak. And the pressure that names solve, groups too large to point your way through, grew as human bands grew larger and more social. Put those together, and the first true names probably emerged deep in the Stone Age, tens of thousands of years before the first written word. Which means something remarkable. By the time humans were painting on cave walls, they almost certainly already had names. The artists who left their handprints on stone 40,000 years ago were not anonymous, not to each other. Each of those hands belonged to someone with a sound, a name we will never recover, but that was, to them, the most personal thing they owned. We can't name a single one of them, but they could name each other. And that, more than the tools, more than the paintings, is the moment the crowd became a community of individuals. We think of names as small things: paperwork, introductions, a word on a coffee cup. But your name is one of the oldest inheritances you carry, a piece of technology invented by people whose own names are lost, so that no one they loved would ever have to be. Every time someone says your name, they're using an ancient tool, a sound that reaches across distance and pulls you, specifically you, out of the noise of the world. It's the reason you can be missed, the reason you can be remembered, the reason you're a someone and not just a body in the pack. And it began, like everything human, with a decision. Not a decision made in a moment, a decision made slowly, quietly, over thousands of years. The decision to stop seeing each other as the tall one, the fast one, the one who hunts, and to start seeing each other as you, a single person, worth a sound of your own. Because the individual didn't begin with a body, or a face, or even a mind. It began the moment we gave each other names, and a human could still be called long after they were gone. If this channel is where you want to think about where we came from and what we've carried ever since, subscribe. New story every week. We'll see you there.